So welcome. My name is Johannes Riponen. I'm the Global Academic Director here at the Condé Nast College. And today we are doing an online open event where we're specifically talking about our short summer and teen programs. And hopefully it will take us about an hour. We'll try to stick to the schedule. And for this presentation, I'm joined by a few of my colleagues from here in UK, which is where we're based, but also colleagues from the other side of the pond. So maybe I'll start by introducing the colleagues that we've got with us to talk about our courses. First up, we've got Hannah Shakir, who is our senior lecturer here at the Condé Nast College in London. Hannah works with our BA students and on our certificate courses, but also Hannah is here today specifically to talk about our Vogue Teen Festival, which takes place in July.
Hi everyone, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I look forward to talking you through that shortly.
Next up, we've got Sarah Hassan, who is the Creative Director and Head of Styling here at the college. Sarah works across all of our whole entire provision on, you guessed it, styling-related courses. And Sarah's here to talk about our 5 days of styling course. We've got one coming up in a few weeks' time, but we've got also courses taking place later this year. But also we can today launch one of our newest addition to our portfolio, which is a 5 days of course focused on beauty business. And Sarah will tell you more about that later as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to speaking to everyone about the world of styling and beauty too. Yeah, I'll speak later. Thank you.
Thanks for joining, Sarah. And last but not least, we've got Hayley Black, who is joining us from the other side of the pond. Hayley is the Director of Admissions and is here to help and answer any questions that you might have about, particularly around admissions and accessing our courses.
Yes, thanks, Johannes. I'm happy to be here and happy to answer any questions you guys might have throughout the call.
During this presentation, please do ask questions. So you can use either the chat function or the Q&A function. And we will also have time at the end of the presentation for any questions that you might have about our courses. So let's get started. And I hope that you can see my screen. Perfect. Based on the notes, that's all I needed. Thank you. Like I said, welcome to this online open event. I'll start by talking a little bit about the college and just to kind of situate it in the kind of wider spectrum of things and tell you a little bit more about what we do before we'll then go on to talking about the individual courses more specifically. In terms of our schedule, like I said, I start with a bit of a welcome. In terms of the courses specifically, we'll talk first about our Vogue Teen Festival, followed by our Vogue Summer School, and that's our Vogue Summer School that specifically takes place in London, because we also have other summer schools taking place in Madrid and also in New York. And towards the latter part of the session, we'll talk about our 5 days of courses. And we'll also talk about the new 5 days of course that I already mentioned. Condé Nast College is really dedicated to providing world-class fashion education, and our aim is to open doors for a unique world of excellence and creativity. Now, you're here, so I'm sure that you already know a little bit about Condé Nast, and if you don't know about Condé Nast, I'm sure you'll know more about the specific publication and media brands that come under Condé Nast. So Condé Nast is I would say, world-leading luxury publishing house that is present in over 30 markets and has a footprint of more than 1 billion consumers all around the world. And Condé Nast owns famous publications such as Vogue, GQ, The New Yorker, Tatler, Vanity Fair, House and Gardens, AD. There's plenty more. And that makes us, I think, quite unique in that we have access to this global network, and we're part of a global brand. And what it means to us is that we've got access to some really unique talent who colleagues from Condé Nast, for instance, who can come and teach our students the most up-to-date information as to what are the kind of practices and knowledge that's relevant for the industry at the moment. Simultaneously, I always try to think about fashion as this, it's a global industry. And being part of a global brand puts us into a unique place on kind of teaching about fashion and opening these doors to this unique world around fashion. And of course, when it comes to fashion, there's no better title than Vogue to be associated with. In terms of our college, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about, because today we're here to talk about our London courses, but we have presence in a few different parts of the world as well. But when we talk about our London offer, really the academic offer that we have is underpinned by rigor, and we've got award-winning academics who have real industry insights, who teach our students, and we mix that with industry experts who come in and teach our students most up-to-date information. We'd like to think that we are a boutique experience, and we're a very close-knit community. We like to get to know our students. We like to support our students in their kind of unique individual journey that they're on. And because we're such a boutique, close-knit community, we make sure to keep close contact with our alumni. After all of our students are wanting to enter into the world of fashion. So even whilst students are with us, they're already networking and making connections with others who they're going to be probably working in the industry with. And when it comes to our offer, we're really focused on obviously fashion, but we focus very much on fashion media, fashion communication, and fashion business. And I always try to also kind of contextualize the word fashion. It's not a fashion necessarily with a capital F. When we think about fashion, we think about the wider world around fashion. That includes beauty and lifestyle, wellness. And we always try to encourage our students to think about wild world of fashion, not just think about fashion as being the thing that you wear. Our London College has been around for 10 years, and during this time, we've had over 3,000 students come through our doors, and currently we have 27 programs. And what's really unique about us is that we have students who come and study with us from all around the world, which makes the educational experience really unique. And also it means that students often make lifelong friendships and connections with people all around the world. And it adds richness to the discussions that happen in the classroom. Our London College is based in central London in 31 Bedford Square, which is literally 10-minute walk from Oxford Circus, for instance. We're placed in a really lovely historic building where we have not only teaching facilities, but other facilities as well, such as our photography studio, which is of course very important for the students who come and study styling with us. Just to give you a bit of an insight into what our campus looks like. With those of you who are familiar with London, we're more specifically placed in Bloomsbury, which is quite an interesting area. Even though we're in central London, it's a cultural hub. It's got lots of really important museums, such as the British Museum or the Sloane Museum. There are other academic institutions in the area, but also it's a really lovely area because there are lots of bars and restaurants, and particularly during the summer, it's a really lovely area to be in. I've already mentioned that Condé Nast College is well, we have presence all around the world. So in London, we have degrees focused on postgraduate degrees, undergraduate degrees, and short courses, and of course our Vogue Summer School, and we'll talk about that today. But we also have presence in New York, Madrid, and we have a whole host of online courses that we teach both in English and in Spanish. That's just a little introduction to our college, and I'll now pass over to Hannah to talk to you about our Vogue Teen Festival, which is the first course that we'll tell you more about.
Hi everyone. So this year's Vogue Teen Festival will take place on the 6th and 7th of July. Johannes, I think if you move to the next slide, it might be a bit more. Yeah, there we go. So this year we're really focusing on fashion. We're going to be announcing the speakers and the programme in more detail over the next couple of months. But generally on the Vogue Teen Weekend, we have professionals from Condé Nast, so from the brands such as Vogue or GQ, and other fashion professionals such as stylists coming in and talking about what they do. And we also do lots of hands-on workshops. So you'll learn about how photo shoots are put together, how we write fashion articles, you'll come up with your own Vogue cover, and you'll connect with lots of like-minded young people as well who are there just to really soak up and learn about the fashion industry from the sort of media, magazine, content creation lens. So we also have, what I will say is I was even talking to one of our graduates earlier, and I asked them about coming to, they now work for Vogue Business, and I asked them about coming to talk at the Vogue Teen Weekend. And they said they absolutely want to, because they went to the Vogue Teen Weekend and then they came and did a degree with us, and now they work at Condé Nast. So it's a great way to really start familiarising yourself with the industry and to connect with some industry professionals and start your network. So it takes place over 2 days, and you can, I believe, book for just 1 day if you're only available on the 1 day. But yeah, it's all weekend from around 11 till 4 or 5 p.m. and it takes place at the college in Bedford Square. So yeah, come and join us if you want to have a wonderful, fun, fashion-filled weekend and start learning about fashion. So that's open and available to people who are between the ages of 15 and 17. Okay, well, I think that's kind of everything about the Vogue Teen Weekend.
Perfect, thank you, Hannah. The next course we'll cover is our Vogue Summer School. Our Vogue Summer School, and again, just to contextualize, we also have a Vogue Summer School taking place in New York this summer, which is, if you are under 18, so maybe you're thinking about our Vogue Teen Festival in London, but we also, if you're in that sort of age bracket, you may also want to think about our Vogue Summer School in New York, and we also have one in Madrid. But like I said, today we're here to talk more about our London offer. And our Vogue Summer School that takes place in London is it's a 4-week course that takes place during the month of July. This year we'll start on the 1st of July and we'll go on all the way to the 26th of July. It's a 4-week intensive course in that students are with us from Monday to Thursday. Classes taking place every single day, and students work as part of a group project. So on Fridays, we recommend that students particularly focus on the group assignments that they do, and I'll tell you more about that in a moment. Our Vogue Summer School is for those 18 or over. I always find it really interesting, the types of students that come and study with us during the summer. It's a really wide range of ages and from all around the world, which makes it a really dynamic and exciting course to be part of. The way we structure our course, and we've got two tracks for our Vogue Summer School, one focused on fashion media and one focused on fashion business. I'll talk about those in a moment. But the way we've also designed this course is that whilst we have two tracks, we've also created a lot of commonalities between the two different tracks, just to make sure that if you come and be part of this course, you get to network with other like-minded people. There's that kind of cross-pollination, hearing from different perspectives, and just meeting different people from around the world. And across our Vogue Summer School, we curate a talk series. So we've got industry experts coming in every week, I would say actually on a daily basis, to come and talk to our students. The course itself is credit bearing. So what that means is it's the equivalent of studying in UK and the kind of first year BA degree level. And at once you've completed the course, you'll get a certificate for your studies. But depending on where you're from, it might also count towards some of your extracurricular activities if you're, for instance, studying at the university level at the moment. During the course, we organize exhibition visits and visits to other really interesting places that are relevant to your studies. The focus is very much on learning loads of practical skills, whether it's around fashion media or fashion business. We invite alumni to come in and talk to our summer school participants. And also at the college, we have a wider talk series initiative called Vogue Education Presents, where every week we bring in some really interesting industry guests to come and talk to our students. And this talk series is available to all of our students. So whether students are studying on MA level, BA level, or taking part in the Vogue Summer School, it's an opportunity for students to meet each other. And we've had a really fantastic speakers come and talk to our students as part of our Vogue Education Presents talk series, such as Victoria Beckham, Anna Wintour, and Edward Enningfull. It's not always, headline acts and big names. Really, our aim is to bring a wide variety of industry professionals so that our students learn more about, what is happening in the industry, and they can hear from really inspirational speakers. As I already mentioned, we have two tracks for our Vogue Summer School. The first one is focused on fashion media. So that's particularly for those of you, if you're interested in styling, content creation, journalism, and creative direction. This is really the course for you. Our fashion media participants during the course have a project where they develop an editorial proposal for Vogue. So through that process, they start to understand, how do you curate content? How do you think about I don't know, covers? How do you think about written content? And actually, one of the really fantastic features about this particular course is that students take part in photo shoots in our studio. That becomes part of their proposal, but it's a really fantastic opportunity to also, develop a work that sort of shows what you can do when it comes to fashion media. Each week has got a bit of a theme. So week 1, we focus very much on not just introductions, but thinking about context of fashion. Week 2, we move on to thinking about creative practice, fashion styling, and image making, which is really when we start to also lay the foundations for the shoots that take place in our studio during week 4. Week 3 is focused more on content creation. So we think about journalism, we think about social media, we think about crafting content for publication. And then the final week is focused on fashion, the business of fashion media. And really the course culminates into at the end of week 4, our students present their proposals to a panel of industry experts, and we finish the week with the end of course celebrations. Our fashion business track follows a very similar pattern. This course is really for those of you who are interested in learning much more about the business of fashion. That includes aspects such as branding, marketing, PR, and communication, really going across fashion, but also design, retail, and media sectors. In a similar way to our media track, the course, there are weekly themes during the course. So in a similar way to media, we start the course by not just introductions, but thinking about context of fashion. Week 2, the focus is more on thinking about strategies, fashion marketing, branding, and promotion. Week 3, it's all about fashion futures and market disruptions. So really thinking about, actually this is a sort of running theme to most of the things that we do at the college. Fashion is all about now and the next. Past is of course important, but when you're working in fashion, you're always thinking about the future. And there's a lot of focus on getting our students to think about the future and what's coming next. The course culminates into the Fashion Business and Pitching Business Concepts Week, which in a similar way to our media course ends with students pitching their group projects to a panel of industry experts. And again, we finish the course with an end of course celebration. So that's our Vogue Summer School. This is just to give you a few examples of our alumni and what they've gone on to do since studying with us. And interestingly, a number of our students have done other courses with us as well. So as Maury, for instance, did our Vogue Summer School in 2017 and then went on to do our BA degree. And after that, actually straight away managed to secure a job working for Condé Nast, and she's recently moved to a new job working in fashion journalism. That's our Vogue Summer School. The next set of courses that we're going to talk about is our 5 days of courses, and I'll invite Sarah to join me to talk about these in more detail. Our 5 days of courses is kind of what it says on the tin. They're 5 days. You come and study with us for 5 days. These are very introductory courses, but having said that, they are really immersive courses where you not only get your hands dirty and really start to practice some of the kind of the areas that you're coming to study with us, It's a really fantastic opportunity for those of you, if you're new to the world of fashion and you want to test it out and sort of see, what it's like to study fashion. But equally, we have a huge number of participants who come and study with us as part of their professional development, as a way of topping up their knowledge base, or as a way of starting to understand a different perspective into the world of fashion. So again, we have students who come all around the world to participate in these courses with various different backgrounds, which again makes it, I think, a really exciting. It makes it really exciting courses. And actually, we're currently putting finishing touches to our next set of 5 days of courses that take place in a few weeks' time. In a similar way to our Vogue Summer School, where I talked about how we have some common elements, we've done similar sort of thing with our 5 days of courses. So even though we've got currently 4 and in the future 5 discrete specific courses that you can come and study with us, we also have designed a number of common elements for these courses, because all of our courses take place at the same time, and we want to offer opportunities for students to meet others from the different courses, and we also created a collaborative element that's part of our 5 days of courses that allows, whether you're studying fashion styling or journalism or creative direction or fashion business, allows that opportunity to work with other creative practitioners on a shared project. We usually have things like exhibition visits as part of these courses. All of the delivery is done by industry professionals and leading academics who work in the field of fashion. The really, I think, exciting part of our 5 days of courses is our Bringing the Masthead to Life event, where we take the participants to the Adelphi building, which is the where Condé Nast headquarters are, and we, as a part of that day, we invite colleagues from different parts of Condé Nast to come and talk to those who are part of 5 days of course about the different things that they do at Condé Nast. It's a real amazing immersive insight into the fashion industry. This is just to give you a bit of an idea. This is a timetable example from our fashion business course. I already mentioned the course is quite intensive. The classes usually start at 10 or 10:30 in the morning, and we'll usually finish around 4:30 or 5 o'clock. And we usually during the day, there are a number of classes that focus on specific facets around the topic that you're studying. So in business, it might be around fashion PR, about retail, about entrepreneurship, and we'll talk to you more about the kind of specific content that we have part of each of our course in a moment. And I'll now hand over to Sarah to talk about our first 5 days of course, which is focused on fashion styling.
Thank you, Johannes. That's brilliant. So yes, welcome to 5 days of fashion styling. It's exactly as Johannes really described it there. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It is literally 5 days of very intensive work. It's jam-packed with loads of workshops, lectures, seminars. There's absolutely zero time for boredom. So yeah, who is this course for, you might ask? Well, it is entry level. It is very suitable for anyone who wants to find out more about how the industry works and ultimately how fashion images are created. Indeed, it's for those also who want to learn more about those many different facets of styling, from still life to editorial to advertorial to advertising. All these different areas, they're so important and they create the world of the fashion stylist. So this course is designed to introduce students to all those visual and practical skills that are required for a successful career in fashion styling. So as I've said, they're going to be really insightful industry expert talks on subjects such as street style, the stylist toolkit. So what I mean by that is explaining to stylists, you budding stylists out there, what you need on a shoot to make that shoot extra special. You know, what goes into your prop kit or your toolkit? How are you going to pin your clothes precisely? How are you going to make the clothes look the very best they can? You're also going to do a session on advertising and lookbooks and the differences between editorial work, advertising work. You're going to be delving into what it's like to be a celebrity stylist as well as a show stylist, and of course personal styling, which is a huge industry in its own right. And in fact, a lot of our stylists who leave the college or perhaps leave the 5 days of fashion styling course, a lot of them actually go on to create their own personal styling or personal shopping businesses. So what are the course highlights? Well, I'd say the main highlight is the studio photo shoot, which takes place on Thursday. And it takes place in our very own studio here at Condé Nast College. The students get to work with, you know, a top photographer, a really great hair and makeup artist, and a model that's been selected from a leading London agency. Along with that shoot, the students get to do their own still life photo shoot for social media platform Meta. They get to work on a celebrity styling workshop. And it's just so hands-on and incredibly immersive, as Johannes has just described. Students will also be looking at the work of established stylists and photographers, as well as learning about agencies and ultimately the differences between styling for, say, editorial or still life and advertising. So we also do an excursion to an exhibition. This time we will be doing something very exciting and hopefully heading off to the V&A. But these exhibition visits are really important because it just loads students with all these ideas that they keep in their brains and they keep in their kind of image vault for the future, for future shoots and future ideas. So by the end of your 5 days, what will you walk away with? Well, you will not only walk away with your professional studio shoot, you'll have your still life photo shoot, you'll also have a street style photo shoot, and you'll also come away with a selection of really professional looking mood boards. So just to recap, the content includes a still life styling shoot, celebrity styling workshop, a street style shoot and workshop, a fashion shoot in our photography studio. You get to work with our industry photographers, makeup artists and models. You get to really hone your skills when it comes to mood boarding your ideas. You'll ultimately walk away with a lovely portfolio of work. And of course, I'm not going to forget our museum trip. Just so that you're aware of what this slide is all about here, these are some of the lecturers, the visiting lecturers that contribute to this brilliant course. You've got Sophie Stevens, who is a fashion editor and creative director in her own right. Ed Miles is an amazing photographer. I used to work with him at Vogue and at Sunday Times Style. He always used to shoot with me, and I'm there on the left. But you'll also be working with a wonderful stylist called Sarah Nash. She does a lot of celebrity work, and Timothy Rene, who is a fashion creative director. So we always just get the most super feedback from our students on this course. And I can honestly say actually that, you know, I always view all the work that the students create, and I can honestly say, and I was saying this to you, Johannes, wasn't I, the other day, that actually some of the work that's created on this course, because they're here for such a short time, is possibly some of the most dynamic I get to see. It's because they're so hungry and eager to create in such a short space of time. And obviously by the end of the course, you'll receive a Condé Nast College of fashion design certificate, and our up and coming dates for 2024 are this coming 18th of March, the 17th of June, and the 2nd of September. Over to you, Johannes.
Perfect, thank you, Sarah. And yeah, it was good, I think, to mention the upcoming course dates as well, because some of you might be interested in the one that is starting in a few weeks' time, but also you might be planning ahead as to what you might want to do later this year. Which is why we've got the dates for you. The next course that we will talk about is our 5 days of fashion journalism. So that's really for those of you, if you're interested in content creation, the role of fashion writing or fashion journalism, or you are really interested in working in fashion media in general. And actually, we also got a question from the Q&A, which was about beauty journalism. So actually, this could be the course for you as well, because as I mentioned, we don't think about fashion with a capital F. It's much more about the wider world of fashion, and of course beauty is a really big part of this. During this course, we focus on it's not just about writing, it is about content creation, but just to sort of clarify, it's not content creation for social media. When we think about content creation, it's content creation for publishing channels, publications, and also most brands these days create their own content, and they have their publications, they've got their online channels through which they have to communicate with their audiences. We start the course by thinking about what is fashion journalism, what does it mean, before we go on to thinking about how to write fashion news and features, think a little bit about catwalk writing and how that feeds into trend writing. We think about what fashion media is, and also what is the role of a fashion editor. And equally, copywriting is a kind of interesting aspect in that most journalists contribute and create written content for all sorts of different clients, which is also a really important world for those wanting to work in fashion journalism or understand fashion journalism. It's important for you to understand. The way in which we designed this course is because we're thinking about journalism and thinking about content creation, we do have some workshops that focus on fashion writing in a similar way that on our fashion styling course, we have workshops that are very much, students work in the studio. But equally, we don't want you to come to the college and spend a week writing things. That wouldn't be very exciting. So we've designed the course in a way that we give you insights to these different ways to think about journalism and to think about content creation. And we've curated a course pack that you'll get before you start with us, where we give you a wide variety of small writing assignments, which we ask you to consider. Maybe you want to write a few of those assignments as a way for you to start to develop your skills. And we also invite you to send those pieces of writing back to us after the course, so we can give you feedback. So we're also wanting to support your writing skills without actually getting you to write too much whilst you're with us, because like I said, that wouldn't necessarily be quite so exciting. This is just few examples of guest lecturers who've worked on our courses previously. Paul Tierney, for instance, who is a freelance writer who contributes for a wide variety of publications. Annabelle Kerman, who's a writer but also a stylist, and I think it's always quite interesting to kind of hear from people who have different roles within the industry. So these are just few examples of contributors that we've had for the course in previous years. And actually, that's also maybe good to know is during your time with us, we try to make sure that you you get to hear from a wide variety of practitioners. There is not one way of being a stylist, or not one way of being a journalist. And hearing from different perspectives hopefully gives you a really holistic understanding into these topics. Next course is our 5 days of fashion business. Well, this one is for those of you in a similar way as we talked about with our Vogue Summer School that focuses on fashion business. Is for those of you if you're interested in fashion business, and particularly focusing on different facets of fashion business, whether it's from buying merchandising, whether it's about entrepreneurship, or also fashion communication, so PR, social media marketing, and fashion branding. Again, this course, in a similar way to our journalism and our styling course, is highly practical. So it's not just that we give you theories of how the fashion business works, or what what are the communication strategies that you need to understand. We use case studies, we have workshops, we have assignments. Students take part in a retail safari, which is where we ask you to go out and utilize London as your classroom, and for you to start to think about how brands communicate their brands in a retail environment. We're always trying to think about really a varied, engaging ways for you to learn about these different topics. In a similar way to our other courses, we have a wide variety of experts from different parts of the field who contribute to the delivery. And previous years, we've had people like Ruth Bhutan, who is a fashion marketing and PR specialist, Teresa Havas, who is a course leader for one of our online courses, but also is a communication consultant and a founder of the advisory and business. We have fashion buyers, fashion futurists, and entrepreneurs who contribute to this particular course as well. Next one, creative direction. Creative direction is an interesting topic. It's a term that you've probably heard before, but in a variety of different contexts. There are creative directors who lead fashion brands. There are creative directors who work in media brands. There are creative directors who work at advertising agencies. And really, the way in which we've designed this course is it's for those of you who want to become creative leaders. If you're wanting to understand the way in which you create a world around a brand, the way in which you think about visuals and text, the way in which you, I suppose, create the visual look, the tangible feel of a brand experience, this might be the course for you. And in a similar way to all of our other courses, we've designed this course in a really interactive way, where we take you through the steps of creatively directing a concept. So you're kind of working towards creating a small project that you might want to use for your portfolio, for instance. We start the week by thinking about what is creative direction. We'll move on to, and actually before you start the course, we'll give you a small task to think about before you start, and you'll use that as the red thread for you to work on during your time with us so you'll work on your, in a way, self-set project with us. We start the week also by thinking about ideation and insights, research. How do you come up with ideas? Which sounds very simple, but actually it's a little bit more complicated than that, what it sounds. We'll then move on to thinking about principles of branding. How do you develop products and concepts, whatever they may be? And how do you develop those in a way that they're right for specific types of audiences? How do you then move on to communicating your ideas, coming up with communication strategies and thinking about storytelling? And again, this course culminates into a pitch that you will do at the end of the course, where you'll pitch your creative direction idea to your peers on the course. Just a few of the contributors to this particular course include Fiona Hayes, who's an art director, has worked for a wide variety of really exciting clients, including Condé Nast. Timothy Rennie, who also contributes to our fashion styling course, but Timothy has been a creative director for a whole host of Condé Nast publications. And the lead that we have for this particular course is Ruth Marshall-Johnson, who's a futures researcher for creative disciplines and also heads our creative direction online course. That's all of our 5 days of courses. But I also before we move on to our one of our newest 5 days of courses that we're launching later this year that Sarah's going to tell you more about. I just wanted to flag up a few of our alumni for our 5 days of courses, just to give you a bit of an idea of the types of people that we've had studying with us. And I'll pass over to Sarah to talk about our latest course, which I'm really excited about, and I think maybe a few of you who are on the call might be interested in this one as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Johannes. And yes, welcome to 5 days of beauty business. I'm absolutely thrilled to announce this new course it's so eagerly awaited. And I think it's a wonderful addition to our 5 days of portfolio. So yeah, the reason why we have launched this is possibly because of the stats out there that presently the beauty industry is worth approximately 25 billion to the UK economy. And this figure, it just keeps on growing, it keeps on rising, possibly due to the pandemic and post-pandemic obsessions with the beauty and the care industries. But there are now so many jobs up for grabs within this industry. So without a doubt, it is an industry that we all need to be very much aware of. Anyway, enough stats for now. So who is this course for? Again, it's entry level, but it is suitable for anyone who wants to understand the inner workings and the foundations of the beauty industry, including looking at the power of the big brands. So, one of the first sessions that we might launch you guys into would be looking at, Estee Lauder and who Estee Lauder own. I mean, it is mind-blowing how much power Estee Lauder has and how many brands they've acquired over the years. So it's about kind of, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and learning about those connections that all these brands make within this beauty network and this beauty industry. We're also going to be looking at how successful beauty brands use innovative marketing techniques to really ensure total brand visibility. So it does very much come from a business angle. There's definitely creativity within as well, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. But it's also very relevant for those wanting or wishing to generate new ideas, or for those who are setting up a new beauty startup or enterprise. It's a really great way to just start kind of coming up with ideas, especially because you'll ultimately be with other people on all the other 5 days of courses. It's this kind of cross-pollination of ideas. It's just a really great place to start. So you're also going to learn about the importance of strategic marketing through branding and PR, and you're also going to find out how beauty brands also create demand for their products, and how they're doing that. It's all through influencer and peer endorsement, and that is so key to how a lot of these new beauty startups, especially during the pandemic, how they started up and how they've just grown so much from using platforms such as TikTok and Meta. We'll also be delving into the kind of the socio-economic trends influencing these beauty consumer companies and looking at beauty behavior as well. And not only that, we'll be looking at the wide ethical considerations which beauty brands now face in 2024. You know, beauty ethics is so important, and these brands have to kind of tick so many boxes and jump through all those different hoops. So lectures, workshops, seminars, they're going to be headed up by top industry insiders. They'll be teaching those, and they will be confirmed over the next few months. You know, we're already teaching beauty to BA level already at Condé Nast College, and we have been doing that for quite some years now. So it only seems fair to share the love and allow the 5 days of students to be a part of that offer too. So yes, so just to recap, the things that you'll be doing, the things that you'll be covering. Well, you'll be covering and creating a still life Instagram shoot in collaboration with a beauty brand, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a minute. But that's highly creative, that's really hands-on, and that gives those kind of those beauty business students that little dip into the ocean of creativity. You're going to be working on business and entrepreneurship sessions, focusing on beauty startups. You'll be looking at social media marketing, advertising, and looking at effective marketing. You'll be looking into brand communication, promotion, and beauty PR, as well as delving into the world of the beauty influencer via TikTok. But you'll also, and really importantly, stepping into the future, looking at what's going to happen into the beauty industry with beauty futures forecasting and sustainability. Sustainability will always be there in the future for the beauty industry. So seeing as this is a very special launch for us, we are really thrilled to be partnering, and I can say it now because we've signed off on it. We're going to be partnering with Molton Brown, and each participant will receive an incredibly special gift from the brand. And Molton Brown's very own global brand director, Katie Elworth-Smith, will play a big part in the brand's touch points on this course. And Molton Brown will also be live briefing the beauty business students for a mini collaborative project, which is all very, very exciting. So the course award, what do you get? At the end of the course, you'll receive a Condé Nast College of Fashion and Design certificate on completion. And we're launching this course on the 17th of June, 2024, with the following intake on the 9th of September, 2024.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I'm really excited about this course, and I think it feels so relevant and such an exciting space as well. Those are the courses that we wanted to share you more information about. If you're interested in any of our other courses that we run in London, whether they're online courses, our postgraduate degrees or undergraduate degrees, we do have separate open days for those as well. And of course, you can also contact us in our admissions email, and also, if you're interested in keeping in touch, please follow us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, or on YouTube using these QR codes. That takes us to the end of the presentation. Hayley, do we have is there anything that you would like to add, or alternatively, I wondered whether there's any questions that have emerged that would be a useful opportunity now to perhaps respond to?
Sure. So as the admissions team, if you have any further questions, Johannes had the email up there on the screen. I'll pop it into the chat again, but you can always reach out, there it is, to admissions@condenastcollege.ac.uk. We're happy to speak with you if you need some assistance, with just determining the right course for you. If you have some questions about how to book and register, we can help you with those as well. Most of our short courses are all very kind of straight to registration, book and pay. So it's quite straightforward. But if you run into any issues or just have questions about it, let us know. Or any questions about visas, things like that. We can always direct you to our compliance office as well. We do have a couple questions that have popped in the chat here. Someone was asking about, can we show the presentation on screen that features blackout? I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure which part of the presentation that was referring to, but if you want to maybe clarify with us or let us know, we'd be happy to revisit that one. For the 5 days of courses, someone's asking, can we take this online or do we have to come to the campus? Johannes, if you wanted to.
These are courses that take place at our campus in London. If access or being able to study in London is potentially an issue, I would recommend, well, a couple of options. We have some courses in Madrid, we have some courses in New York, but we also have online courses. So particularly if you're thinking about, let's say, some of our 5 days of courses like fashion styling and creative direction, we have online courses for those also. They are longer, they are 8 weeks, but it doesn't mean that you're studying 8 weeks every single day. You can kind of scatter it around your schedule, but that could be quite an interesting option to explore. I hope that answers your question.
And someone's asking about if they're able to apply to the September short courses yet, or do they apply near to the time? So I'm happy to answer this one. Currently, for the 5 days of short courses, our March session is open for registration. September will probably open, I would say, around June. Correct me if I'm wrong, Johannes or Sarah, but typically once one session ends, we'll put the next session up for registration. So in March, once the March courses start, we'll have the June courses up for registration. And then once the June courses are in session, then we'll have that September registration open for you. Let's see. Someone's asking, when do the Vogue Summer School courses usually fill up? Johannes, did you want to answer this one or?
Yeah, I would. So this is the time when applicants usually start to think about the summer. I'm planning my summer at the moment as well. So I think now is a good time to think about it. Depending on where you're from, you also need to think about, for instance, accommodation. So if you're not from UK, you need to think about travel. We make some accommodation recommendations on our website. So there might be quite a lot of things for you to consider around this. And as you know, forward planning is a key. So I would start to think about those logistics. You definitely don't want to leave it too late, because the courses do, fill up particularly towards the late spring. So plan ahead. But also I say that because it's important to think about all of these other things around the course, such as accommodation and potentially travel as well. And that will just make you help you a lot. And also, if you're coming from outside UK to London for the month of July, you want to make sure that you make the most of that time, and you can sort of think about all sorts of other things that you might do in London or in Europe, again, depending on where you're coming from.
Hopefully that answered your question. Let us know if you have any other questions about that. You can always reach out to our admissions team as well if you want to check in on, if courses are filling up, that sort of thing. Someone's asking about dress code for courses. Johannes or Sarah, do you have anything to provide around that?
Well, as a stylist, I'll keep that to Sarah.
God, now that's a tough question. We are open. We are a very, very welcoming and we welcome diversity, we are open to anything. But yeah, obviously within means, just make sure you're comfortable. You don't have to wear a suit. It's whatever you feel comfortable in. And yeah, absolutely. Seeing as I head up styling, it wouldn't be right for me to say just follow everyone else and, be the norm. Yeah, kind of push the boat out a bit.
We have a question about the timetable for the summer school. What does like a typical day look like?
Yeah. We're currently planning our summer courses for next summer. So there may be some kind of subtle changes. We always try to make sure that we keep to a format, and because also we understand that our participants want to plan ahead and kind of understand the rhythm of the course as well. And also something just to note as well, like we provide information about things like timings and patterns ahead of the course starting as well, just to make sure to help you prepare for the course. Last summer, so our students for our Vogue Summer School were in 4 days a week. So it's 4-week course. Students were in 4 days. Usually classes start at around 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. And we usually finish around 4:30, 5 o'clock. We very rarely, actually, I'd be quite confident to say we never have evening classes. We understand that you want to make the most of your time in London, and we also we don't have last year, for instance, we didn't have any classes on Fridays, and of course nothing over the weekend. We may offer some optional things. So last year, for instance, we organized an optional visit on a Friday, which students could join, or they didn't have to. And also something just to note is that our Vogue Summer School, there is a project that students work on. So we do ask that students dedicate some time for that. So, again, we understand it's your summer. You are coming to study, but equally it's important for us that you also you enjoy your time in London. So we make some recommendations about perhaps kind of allocating some time after the classes, and of course our campus is open up until 7 o'clock, so students can utilize things like the library, for instance, for self-directed study. But that's usually the pattern, and we try to help our students as much as we possibly can to navigate that as well.
Perfect. Could you maybe speak a little bit too about, there's a question about certificates after finishing the summer school. What kind of certification do they receive after these courses?
Yeah, good question. So our Vogue Summer School is validated by University of Buckingham. So University of Buckingham is our validating partner for our master's degrees, our undergraduate degrees as well. And we've validated this particular course with them. The course is worth 15 credits. That's like UK credits. I think it equates to 2 or 3 US, I forgot the term, but the sort of equivalent of, and if you're familiar with UK study, it's kind of the equivalent of somebody studying on the first year of university. What does that mean? Well, it means that in successfully passing the Vogue Summer School, so there is an assignment that students work on collaboratively and also individually as part of the course. But the course is designed to, in a way, help you with that. We take you through the different steps in order for you to be able to complete the assignment. And in successfully completing the assignment, you'll get a certificate from University of Buckingham, and also a transcript about the credits that you've been awarded, which is 15 credits for this particular course. So it is credit bearing, and It's that's useful to know, again, depending on where you are coming from or what you're doing at the moment. So if you're studying at an undergraduate level in a particular type of institution where you can, for instance, get extra credit from doing extracurricular things during the summer or taking extra courses, that could be useful. But it is also a certificate that you've to demonstrate that you've successfully passed the course.
Thank you. Some good questions around, who attends these courses, what kinds of ages or backgrounds of attendees do we see on the summer school courses?
Yeah. Sarah, feel free to jump in, but I would say that, and this is what I think makes it really nice, is that we have participants coming from different parts of the world and different ages. Most tend to be in the 20 to 30 bracket, but we've had also students who are a little bit older because they've come to a point where they maybe want to pivot what they're doing, or they want to explore the world of fashion. They want to build their skills towards a new direction. And I think that's what, at least in my opinion, makes it really exciting and a really, really rich space to be in. But I don't know, Sarah, how would you describe it?
Yeah, I think I would totally agree with you there. But for me, the summer school, I find the demographic really interesting. For instance, that we've had some students from Silicon Valley who, might be, doing something incredibly different. And then they've always wanted to do fashion, or their parents wanted them to go down a certain route. But then, the Vogue Summer School, it's their time to come and check out that industry. And, it's part of a holiday for them. So it's a really wonderful buzz. And actually that buzz definitely generates through the 1 week course as well, especially for styling. And I hope it will do for beauty too. But yeah, a real cross section of people. But yeah, I would definitely say 20 to 30s. Absolutely.
And of course, I think what connects everyone is their shared, I'm sorry to sound cheesy, passion for fashion.
Yeah. And
Do you-
beauty.
Do you also find a similar demographic as well in the 5 days of courses? We had a question about that too.
Yeah, really varied. I think, yeah, I in very broad brushstrokes, quite often for those of these both courses, I would say if I really was forced to say three different student types, it's quite often someone who may be studying at an undergraduate level, possibly in fashion, but also a lot of applicants who are outside fashion. So, and I think that's actually quite important to know. Like even with for instance, our fashion styling course, where even during the 5 days of fashion styling course, you get to take part in a shoot, but that doesn't mean that you have to have experience in fashion styling. We immerse you straight in there, and you get to sort of start to test these skills, but you don't necessarily have to have a background in fashion. And if you do, that's great as well. We all come from different. We have different background, different contexts, different knowledge bases, and that's again, I think, what makes education or being in an environment like this really interesting, because there is not one way of being or working or thinking about fashion. We all have different perspectives, and yeah, that's what makes it rich. So I said about people who are studying maybe already, also some who maybe finished their studies and gone on into the world of work, but wanting to maybe explore different skills. So for instance, for our 5 days of courses, we've had participants who've maybe worked in fashion, but they want to learn a little bit more about styling, or a little bit more about business or journalism, or again, people will come to it, and it's a new world. For some reason, we've had a lot of, on our online courses, a lot of lawyers. So again, it's what is always the sort of the thing that unites everyone is the kind of real interest in the world of fashion. And then sometimes very rarely, school people who've finished their kind of formal education, and they are maybe about to, well, they're thinking about their options, thinking about their directions, and come and explore these courses as part of that. Sarah, I don't know whether that captured or whether you want to
absolutely. And I mean, we might be saying that generally it's 20 to 30, but it's not just limited to that age group. We've had a huge array of ages, and like Johannes said, it doesn't matter about your age. It's how you feel about the subjects that you are embarking on and you're wanting to learn about, how you can connect with the other people on your course and on the other courses. I can see we've got a message from Sophie Fataidu, and she has sweetly said, I've finished studying visual merchandising here in Greece and I want to expand my knowledge and connections, since here in Greece it is a bit of a small circle. Well, the minute you get to the college and you're a part of this community with loads of other people on these 5-day courses, learning all about the fashion industry or beauty industry. And, especially on that last day when you get to work with each other and you get to work on your own Vogue issue and proposal, that is the time that it doesn't matter what age you are, it's your creative heads that will come together to create something very magical.
Perfect. And I'm wondering, kind of following up from that, we have a couple of questions about, careers or job opportunities after they complete these courses. Do you all have any kind of thoughts on, some options or pathways that we can, kind of weigh in on?
Yeah. So on one hand, it's a very difficult question because it depends on what you've done before, where you are in your life, and therefore what purpose do these courses serve. Fashion industry is a very competitive space, which is also why we offer longer courses that really allow a sort of more extended period of time and higher qualifications, for instance, in order to give a better footing into getting into the industry. But I understand that's not always that's not for everyone. And also the length of the course, like how much time you immerse yourself in this particular subject area. It's a very different thing studying 1 year or 2 years to studying only 5 days. And our 5 days of courses, as well as our Vogue Summer School, they are, I would say, very introductory. But that doesn't mean that, even if you've got a very good understanding of fashion, that you will find it, you'll be familiar with it. We always try to challenge our students, and it comes back to our kind of the boutique nature of our college. We try to always push students individually, even if when they're with us for a very short space, because everyone's on a different journey. So, I'm sorry I don't have a hard and fast answer to this. I suppose even with 5 days, of course, what the reason why we bring people from different backgrounds and industry context is to try to demonstrate that there isn't one way of working in fashion. There is not one way of being a stylist or being a journalist. Some have got specific positions within the kind of publication. Some work in freelance. Some work outside fashion and incorporate that into their professional practice. And so there's lots of different ways of existing in this world. We're just I always think about education as it's almost like you're walking up this staircase, and we're just 1 step or 2 steps maybe, depending on how long. But we're trying to play our part in providing you knowledge, skills, perspectives to travel on that journey that you're on.
And yeah, you touched on this a little bit, and someone was asking, you know, if they've been working in the industry for like 4 to 5 years, like, are these courses still going to be helpful for them? I mean, we do see people from a kind of a variety of different backgrounds, but I'm Johannes, if you had any further thoughts on that.
So again, it depends on, are you wanting to study something that's related to your subject expertise, or are you wanting to pivot or find different facets to your skill set? So for instance, we've had a lot of students who've come to us, and maybe they've worked in business and they wanted to develop their creative skills with styling. But equally, you know, last time that we ran our 5 days of creative direction, we have had a lot of participants who were working as creative directors, and they were wanting to be in a different type of context, with learning, you know, a different perspective into their practice and to further develop their skills. So again, it depends on what your interests are like. And I think about studying and education as like you're developing your toolbox. Like what's the toolbox that you need to have in order for you on this journey? Sorry, too many metaphors today. And so like different types of courses develop different types of tools or skills for different lengths of time. So there's a philosopher, Richard Sennett, who says, in order to master a craft, you need to practice that craft something like 10,000 hours, which is essentially doing it every day for 10 years. So we don't even offer courses that would last for 10 years. So again, you're continuously having to practice using these tools in order to master a craft.
So I think probably last question, unless we have any more that pop up, but I'm going to be mindful of everyone's time. Someone's asking about the summer school assignment. Is it graded? Maybe do they get feedback, that kind of thing?
Yeah, excellent questions. It is. So we do have an assignment that students work towards at the very end, that is submitted at the very last day of the course. Which is actually a bigger part of that is a proposal presentation to a panel of industry experts, which sounds scary, but it's not. It's actually a really, really good experience to go through. So that's part of the assignment. We grade it. We'll give you feedback about it as well, and that also contributes to you then being able to successfully complete the degree and also to get a certificate. We don't grade our 5 days of courses. But we during those courses, we encourage you to develop work, and we give you feedback about it. So for instance, on fashion journalism, we ask you to send your piece of writing back to us, and we can give you some feedback about it. Or during the styling course, you work in the studio, and it's actually that live space that you're also getting feedback from the photographers and models and the stylists who are working with you there.
Well, we had one question, I answered it, but they're asking about recordings. We will send out the recording of the session to all the attendees. So that way you guys have that if you want to refer back to anything, review any of the information that we provided. But you can always reach out to our admissions team as well at the admissions@condenastcollege.ac.uk. And we're always happy to connect with you personally there as well. Any final thoughts, Johannes or Sarah?
Thank you for coming tonight, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Exactly. Thank you so much. I hope we provided you enough information about our different courses. But like I said, if you've got any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to get in contact with us, and we'll be very happy to answer your questions. If you happen to be in London permanently or visiting, you're always welcome to come and see us at the college, and we can give you a tour, and we can tell you more about our courses as well. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And like Haley mentioned, we'll also give you access to the recording of this session in case there's anything that you want to go back to. We hope to see you someday at our college in London, or perhaps in our other campuses, or perhaps even on our online courses. I hope you enjoyed the session, and like I said, have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye.